So we are thrilled to be joined once again by today's guest, Blue Jays reporter for Sports Illustrated, Mitch Bannon. Welcome back to the walk-off, man. Thanks for taking the time.
Thanks for having me. Fun as always.
So when the Jays blow a lead like last night, does that become more work on your end? I'm guessing anything you wrote when they were up just goes right in the garbage.
Luckily, I wasn't on a game story last night, so I could kind of sit back and
Perfect.
view it from a little more of a casual perspective. I would not want to have been doing a game story last night. Would have been, oh, the Vlad game, the big home run,
Right?
quickly pivoting to something else. But yeah, I'm glad I wasn't writing a game story last night.
So let's just get into last night's game then, because I know Blue Jays Twitter did not handle this late game collapse very well. A lot of talk about bringing in Adam Cimber instead of Anthony Bass, and why Schneider would bring in a ground ball pitcher instead of Bass with a high K rate and extra innings with a runner on second. Some Jays fans have even gone as far as being like he should be fired for this, calling him Charlie too. Very level-headed responses to this late inning loss. Was this a bad decision on his part, or could there be more to it? And maybe Anthony Bass, who hasn't pitched since when was it, Adam? The 16th?
16th of September.
Could Bass be injured?
Yeah, I haven't heard anything on Bass, but I certainly think that could play into it. I think if there was a knock worth noting, Schneider would have said so after the game. He's usually pretty transparent with those kind of things, especially if it was like something like, yeah, he was like the Blue Jays before every game, they get like a sheet that says relievers are green, good to go, regardless, yellow, if you need them, orange, if you really need them, or red. I reckon it probably just came down to Cimber was green, Bass was yellow or orange. And then like you probably felt pretty good. Like they match up similarly against the same kind of guys. Both have the slider. The fastballs are obviously vastly different velocities, but you're probably using them in pretty similar spots. So you figure when you're trying to get to a next inning at that point that maybe you're gonna have to use Bass anyways. So you use Simmer there and see what you can get.
Cimber has been fairly solid, and he's one of the most used relievers in all of baseball. The guy's got a rubber arm. Did you, when you watched him come out of the pen, have a problem with it? Because I didn't really have a problem with it. I mean, I was a little confused. I was expecting them to go to Bass, but it's not like I was pulling my hair out. How did you feel personally?
Yeah, I think it's like I probably would have gone to Bass there, but and I know a lot of people would have, but we don't have all the information. So like
Yeah.
I think like I think Simber's strikeout rates and like the whiff rates and the swing and miss numbers be a lot closer to Bass's than people think. Like he's got close to a strikeout per inning. I think it's like high sevens, maybe low eights on his strikeouts per nine. So he's been able to get big strikeouts for the team this year. Also, really good at getting like those easy infield flies, with which turn out to be kind of the same
Yeah.
thing. And so I wasn't terribly hated. I don't think, oh, they brought in Adam Simber, they're going to lose the game because of this move. But like
Mhm.
if all else was equal, I definitely would have gone to Bass.
I mean, this Philly series was kind of weird, anyways, right? I mean, 29 runs in the first game, and then they didn't score a run until the eighth, either team in the next game. Is this a series to even read anything into, or just take it as a blip and kind of move on with the way you're looking at the season?
Yeah, I think like if they lose to the Yankees and the AL East by a game, people are going to look back at that game. But there's probably 8 games all season where you can look back and be like, oh, this is one that got away. I think if the Yankees had lost last night, if the Mariners had won, like it might seem like a bigger loss than it actually was. But I think you're probably pretty happy to get in and out of Philly facing the two starters that you did with this split.
I mean, fans are going to do that anyways, because people still bring up Marcus Simeon's error against the Tigers there that technically, according to people, blew the entire season, right? So that you can always pinpoint certain moments and blame it if you want. If that's the type of fandom, the emotional damage you want to do to yourself, go ahead, I guess. But let's talk the bullpen a little bit here, Mitch, because the bullpen's been really good after the trade deadline, up until just recently, where we've seen a little bit of a scuffle. We've watched Romano kind of blow a couple saves. Garcia has given up hits and runs in spots that he probably normally wouldn't give up. Is this a concern? I know that it's been a heavily used bullpen in September. Could this be fatigue?
Yeah, I think it's possibly fatigue. Like this last week has probably been the worst week of Jimmy Garcia's entire season, and like it's just yeah, I think 3 runs last night, and then he had a couple like non-save situation or non-big moments where he gave up runs earlier during the homestand last week. So that'd be something to keep an eye on. Like he's at a pretty significant workload, but the Jays are also in a spot and they have a deep enough bullpen right now with the expanded rosters where they can maybe ease off the gas a little bit on these guys. I know like Romano feels and a bunch of guys in the pen feel like if they don't pitch like for 3 days that they're losing it. They need to be in the games just to keep everything in check, keep the shape of their slider and stuff like that. So I wouldn't expect a guy like Jordan Romano or Jimmy Garcia to get a week off, but maybe you use them once out of every 3 games. Maybe you don't use them on back to backs for the next couple of weeks unless you do get close to the Yankees. I think those 3 wildcard spots are all pretty similar in value, unless you're like jockeying for a home field advantage right at the end there. So they're in a spot where they can be cautious about the bullpen usage and kind of the usage of every single player on the roster right now.